the people of Ghana, is a Nigerian Girl Pleasure, bringing you political news in our channel, Acromatic. Aside being very creative, hardworking, passionate, Dr. Bawumia is simply a good leader. He has always shown that he is a passionate man, wonderful soul, and a good human being. Please watch.
It's the 25th of June 2022. Mourners, including the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, have gathered at the Accra International Conference Center for the memorial of the former president of the Sickle Cell Foundation, Professor Kweku Ohene Frimpong. The Vice President had worked closely with the professor and other institutions to ensure the availability of hydroxyurea for the treatment of people with sickle cell disease in Ghana. Hydroxyurea is a medication for persons with SCD and was approved by the Food and Drugs Authority in 2018 for use by both adults and children in Ghana. Here at the memorial, the Vice President will announce that the National Health Insurance Scheme will now absorb the cost of all important medication for persons living with sickle cell disease.
Professor Ohene Frimpong's concern for a lot of the children, because for him, the earlier we detected sickle cell, of course, the quicker it would be. So he wanted screening for all children, and this was the aim that he had. So as the agreement with Novartis to provide hydroxyurea free was coming to an end, he increasingly was pushing us to make sure that the National Health Insurance Scheme would cover hydroxyurea for our children. And we have continued to meet with it, and I am happy to say that the new and in fact the old CEO, Dr. Lydia Selby, and the new CEO for NHIS, Dr. Okoboy, have made the commitment, and government in his memory was going to adopt hydroxyurea under the National Health Insurance Scheme for sickle cell.
This is one part of Dr. Bawumia that people fully overlook. They don't talk about it, they don't bring it to assertion, and they don't even bring back or bring forth the fatherly figure he has played for the people of Ghana, being so compassionate that he loves saving the lives of people.
Sufferers.
I am now at the cafe at East Legon to meet with President of the Sickle Cell Association of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Victoria Awochumesi. She's a sickle cell disease advocate. Awo's daughter, Elisa Palmer, has been living with sickle cell for the past 15 years. She's also a sickle cell disease advocate. She says after she started taking hydroxyurea, she no longer frequents the hospital as it used to be, sometimes only once a year.
Before I started taking hydroxyurea, I would often get sick. Most of the time, I would be in the hospital very frequently. Any small thing could turn into a crisis. And I went through a lot of different things like bone crises and acute chest syndrome. I experienced a lot of things, and I went to the hospital multiple times a year, and sometimes I would be in the hospital for 2 weeks at a time. Now I barely even go to the hospital, maybe once a year.
Her mother, Victoria Awochumesi, says a change in environment, climate, and rigorous exercise could trigger pain episodes and other complications of the disease.
And one thing about people with sickle cell disease is that, they could go from having a minimal crisis and then almost in an instant, it could become a major crisis, which is life-threatening. So to go from that to now being able to, participate in different activities and not have as many crises as you would is such a blessing. So, you have people, maybe they go to the hospital, 5-6 times a month, every 2 months, to maybe going into the hospital once or twice every 3 months for a crisis, which sometimes might not even be related to sickle cell disease. It might be something else that they might be dealing with. So that is sort of how much hydroxyurea has improved the quality of life for people living with sickle cell disease. One particular thing that one thing that I think a lot of the kids can relate to was something like swimming, or weather changes. Before your child, if they have sickle cell disease, you have to be mindful of them, participating in any kind of swimming activity. Or when the weather changes, you have to be cautious of that.
The new president of the Sickle Cell Foundation, Peter Mensah, has a relative with sickle cell. He says persons living with the disease experience pain that can be unbearable.
My first son started feeling funny after 6 months, and so that took us into hospital, and I met other parents who also had children who.
From the talk so far, you only believe and understand that it's only someone that has the heart of Dr. Bawumia that will bring these things into effect and has confidently, smoothly run it till this time.
Had been diagnosed with sickle cell, and there was discussion about coming together as parents of children with sickle cell so that we could present one voice to help make things work out for them. If you know sickle cell very well, it is a condition that comes with a lot of pain. And a lot of hospitalizations. So people or children who have sickle cell would normally find themselves in hospital every 2 weeks. They come home for 2 weeks and they are back in the hospital for 2 weeks. So that was the pattern. Quite apart from that, there was the issue of medication, difficulty in getting medication because for some people it was so expensive they couldn't buy the appropriate medication. So until hydroxyurea came, the standard of care for children with sickle cell was very, very, very disjointed.
Chief Executive of the National Health Insurance Scheme, Dr. Bernard Okoboy, says persons living with sickle cell disease are exposed to all kinds of health hazards, but hydroxyurea helps them to avoid the sickling experience.
We have a significant number of people in this country who are sickle cell patients. Those with full-blown sickle cell, that is SS or SC, usually have some unique challenges. Without intervention or proper medication, they experience a lot of pain in their body, what we refer to as crisis moments in the ordinary man's language. But actually, they experience the pain because the blood cells clots and prevents blood from flowing to certain parts of their body. So beyond the pain, they also suffer some tissues of their body die, which can lead to, if the tissues die in the brain, that is a stroke. If the tissues die in the liver, that can lead to liver cirrhosis or damage to the liver. If it's the kidney, they get kidney failure. So they are exposed to all kinds of hazards. But research has shown that hydroxyurea, if given to sickle cell patients, helps them to avoid this sickling experience. Once it's sickling, the experience where their blood cells, their red blood cells, instead of being in a very nice shape to carry oxygen, folds up and becomes sickled and blocks their blood vessels. So this medication is a life-changing medication. It does not only increase the number of years or days they spend on the earth, but it also improves the quality of their life.
I had a good friend who's passed away now. He was, one of the leading people, if not the leading person, as far as sickle cell management and treatment and so on, research in Ghana is.
From the video so far, you've understood that since 2021 that these things were announced. Yes, this national health insurance scheme were announced and implemented by Dr. Bawumia and the present government. It has been working, I think it has been saving life till now. With the inclusion of hydro-oral under the scheme, it has just been a reality from that day till now. Please do well to like, comment, follow, put your notification bell so you get all our updates one by one.